Hello and welcome to Pluribus Unum's Fireside Chats. Not as good as FDR's, but hey, it's something. Again, there's not really any housekeeping or anything like that, so let's get right into the news. Our first story is coming from our neighbor to the across the pond. I keep trying to say the neighbor to the north, but it's not Canada, it's the UK. Parliament breaks deadlock with vote for December 12th election. MPs voted on Tuesday night to finally resolve their Brexit deadlock by calling a general election, setting the stage for a December 12th contest that could be the most unpredictable in a generation. Boris Johnson won his fourth bid to go to the polls by 438 to 20 after Jeremy Corbyn declared that Labour would support an election as a once-in-a-generation chance to transform the country. The pre-Christmas vote will be the first December poll since 1923. Now, here's the thing. It's a weird scenario because Brexit and the UK politics has been really screwy, especially the Labour Party to an extent. Let me explain. Okay, so one day Boris Johnson calls for a general election. Labour says no. But now they are calling for a general election and have voted for a general election. And the thing about this vote is that a lot of people who were like the Liberal Democrats and the Scottish National Party, they abstained from this vote. So again, it's really mostly just Labour and Tory doing, their little bit of a fight and dance. Like a little stupid whatever. Brexit has kind of been screwing with the Labour Party for a while. Like, Jeremy Corbyn, he clearly does not want to handle Brexit. He does not want to do anything with Brexit. Because here's the thing. He does not really talk about Brexit that much. He advocated for Remain just kind of passively, like, we will remain in the European Union. And now, after the people actually voted and a majority of the people in the UK voted to leave the EU, now all of a sudden Corbyn, who originally at one point, who didn't even want the UK to be a part of the EU when it was first introduced into the EU, is now advocating for remaining in the EU. And Theresa May, who advocated for remaining in the EU prior to the vote, was now supposed to be the harbinger of Brexit. Like it's weird. They had to shift, and Labour keeps shifting their views. They shift the goalpost a lot in regards to Brexit. Like, on one end, first they were just Remain. We have to remain. We'll never vote for any deal to leave the EU. We will remain in the EU because it will benefit jobs and stuff. There's a lot of ins and outs in regards to Brexit. Left-wingers for leaving the EU, right-wingers for leaving the EU, right-wingers for remaining, left-wingers for remaining. It's not a partisan issue. It's a partisan, but it's not like a political spectrum ideological difference. People have different views regarding Brexit, no matter who or what their political ideology is. It's clear that Corbyn wants to focus on domestic policy, combating the austerity programs caused by New Labour and the Tory party. But the Brexit issue is just the one issue that everybody's focusing on. He has to tackle it in one way or another. And his original solution was, of course, just to advocate for Remain, but that played in the hands of the Liberal Democrats, who are now putting out the fact that Corbyn can't advocate for Remain correctly. So then, earlier this year, during the EU elections, the UK actually, the Labour Party, actually changed their position on Brexit, saying that if they were to leave the EU, they would have to form a customs union with the European Union. A permanent customs union. Whereas, depending on who you are, they either say that's a good idea, that's a bad idea, or whatever. Like, there are a lot of political parties like the Green Party of England and Wales, Liberal Democrats, the Independent Group for Change, that were just like, no, we advocate for a second vote. Which is now the Labour Party's current position. They will win, they will try to win a general election so they can institute the people's vote. Which is basically a do-over vote for Brexit. Now it's weird. It's weird. They keep changing their position on Brexit because the Labour Party doesn't see Brexit as the main issue. When it's weird, it's like Corbyn. You need to actually look at the Brexit issue very, very closely. This is a very important issue. You have to be clear about what your position is if your party is going to have a position. Because before the EU vote, the Conservative Party actually said they'll let their members pick whatever they want. Like, if you want to advocate for Remain, advocate for Remain. If you want to advocate for Leave, advocate for Leave. They keep changing all their minds and all this stuff. But here's the big question. Who will get the Pluribus Unum stamp of approval in a December general election? Well, for Prime Minister, I advocate and 100% support Jeremy Corbyn. But each individual constituency, I won't talk about each individual constituency. I probably will do on my website like a little, like not even like they won't even get a full tab. They'll just get a picture of certain people in certain constituencies. Currently, there are only 3 other members of, there are only 3 other constituencies I really care about that are actually going to be having an election soon. First, there's George Galloway, who will be running in, I forget what constituency he's going to run in. It'll be on my website at some point in the future. But I support George Galloway because I love George Galloway, even though he is for Brexit, and I'm not really, I'm not too keen on Brexit. If I'm saying, if there's going to be, I'm kind of in the Labour position, you gotta have a customs union. That seems to be the best way you can do a Brexit. Then I will also endorse the Green Party leader, Caroline Lucas, for her constituency, because I think the Green Party should be in the constituency. I would have done that for the Green Party of Canada back in the Canadian elections, but the thought didn't cross my mind. The thought crossed my mind now. And the last one that I see myself endorsing is one that is actually kind of interesting, because we're not really sure what's going on here. Chris Williamson. Chris Williamson is the one member of the UK Parliament that has been hammering in Julian Assange. He has been hammering Julian Assange, talking about him constantly. He sends letters to Boris Johnson saying we need to free him. He says a lot of things that are he appears at Julian Assange rallies, rallies to free Julian Assange. He's doing so much for the Julian Assange debacle. Well, debacle is one way to describe what's going on with Julian Assange. You could also describe it as political imprisonment. But the thing about Chris Williamson is kind of in a bit of a limbo. You see, he was originally elected to be a Labour Party candidate, but has been expelled because he was talking about the anti-Semitism claims about Labour and was saying that the Labour Party was giving too much credit to these claims. So then he was expelled, and then reinstated, and then expelled again. So the thing is, I don't 100% know if Chris Williamson will be standing in the next election. I don't know if he's going to be reinstated into the Labour Party, or if he's going to be kicked out of the Labour Party, or is he gonna stand as an independent? Is he gonna? I don't know. I honestly want Chris Williamson to stay around because he is the one person to talk about the Julian Assange case, because he's the one person on the home turf that is advocating for Julian Assange. So it's very important that Chris Williamson stays in the UK House of Commons. But anyways, the next story coming from the US, which technically should have been the first thing, but I'm like, nah, this is more important. House passes resolution that lays out formal rules of the Trump impeachment inquiry. House Democrats on Thursday passed a resolution outlining the next phase on the impeachment inquiry into President Donald Trump. The 232 to 196 vote passed nearly along party lines, with no Republicans voting for the resolution. 2 Democrats, Representatives Colin Peterson from Minnesota and Jeff Van Drew of New Jersey, joined Republicans in voting against it. The lone independent congressman, Representative Justin Amash from Michigan, voted for the impeachment inquiry. So basically, impeachment. The impeachment has begun. It will fail, but it has begun. Like, that's the thing. Like again, no Republican voted for impeachment. Ergo, what's the point? Like, no Republican voted for impeachment. Not Thomas Massey, literally no Republican voted for impeachment. Amash was again an independent. So yeah, there's legitimately nothing you can do, because again, here's the thing, you're not going to get the 20 Republicans to flip and vote for the impeachment in the Senate. You're not going to get that. What you are going to get is Trump walking away and being like, I survived impeachment because they had nothing. Because that's the thing. This is the thing. You're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. Now, I usually advocate for being damned if you do, so do it. But the thing is, this doesn't really matter. The impeachment inquiry will not happen. It's not politically expedient. Like, I mean, other times where it was politically expedient, it was decent enough in a sense. Like, for example, if you voted on the Green New Deal and then it died in the Senate, that'd be one thing. If you voted for Medicare for All and it dies in the Senate, that'd be one thing. But this is directly talking about an impeachment inquiry to make sure that the president gets kicked out of office. Like, again, you need to actually have big substantive stuff that could actually entail Trump being impeached. And you had that, but you're not going to use that. You're going to use the Ukraine call, which Trump immediately just flips and immediately goes, well, yeah, what about Hunter Biden? That's the thing. The Democrats, they are so stupid in regards to actual political strategy. Like, here's a joke. You want to know how to lose an election? Go to a Democrat. Because they don't know anything. Like, they don't know what is politically strategic. They don't. Think about it. If they did, they'd be advocating for Medicare for All every day till the cows came home. Because it's the political strategy that works. Like, a more recent poll has 53% of Americans say they support a Medicare for All system. And before that, it was like 60s, 70s. Like, you think this isn't a viable political strategy? But this impeachment inquiry, no. This is going to have something. Even though Trump can literally just say, yeah, what about Hunter Biden? Because that's the thing. And the thing is, like, you might say, oh, I mean, what about the other important things about Trump that you can impeach him on? Because there are some things you can impeach him on. The emoluments clause, very simple. Democrats are guilty of the same thing. Taking money from the Saudis. Trump is a good political strategist. People don't think this. They think he's just a big fumbling moron. He is a smart person. When the Billy Bush tapes came out, And everyone was like, this is it, the campaign's over. Trump was like, no, it's not over because I did all talk. But here's the thing, I brought these 8 Bill Clinton accusers who accused Bill Clinton of rape. I mean, this is actions. I only just talked. And he's in the president's office now. This guy is smart. People don't acknowledge this. They think he's a big fumbling moron because, oh, he misspelled a word on Twitter. Haha, Kofefi. Ooh. Like, you can tell he's smart because he took 2 of the most highly funded, highly pampered political candidates in history, Jeb Bush and Hillary Clinton, and just mopped the floor with them. You can tell that this guy's a political strategist genius. And I don't even think he has political strategists. Anyways, for more disappointment, Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin apparently are saying they might vote for Trump if Bernie is the Democratic nominee. What a surprise! Kyrsten Sinema, member of the Blue Dog Democrats, bisexual who refuses to call herself bisexual, atheist who refused to call herself atheist, who ran as a progressive campaign and instead became one of the most Republican-friendly Democrats in the House history. She might not vote for Bernie. Oh my goodness, I didn't even consider it. Joe Manchin, one of the most conservative Democrats in the history of the Senate, may not vote for Bernie, despite the fact that his state overwhelmingly loves Bernie. This is so shocking. And that's the thing. Like, people who are blue no matter who, these are the people who they prop up. But this is why I hate the so-called moderate Democrats. But why they seem to be the strangest machinations of political whatevers. They do literally everything that the establishment accuses progressives of. Progressives are always accused of like, oh, you're the purists. You won't vote for this because of blah, blah, blah. You gonna blah, 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 blah. Like, let's take a look at the House of Representatives. Like, let me take you to the House of Representatives. Nancy Pelosi was gonna be Speaker of the House. There were moderates that were saying, no, I will not support Nancy Pelosi. Progressives who said, I will not support Nancy Pelosi. As soon as they were elected, the progressives were just, shut up. No more saying that they wouldn't vote for Nancy Pelosi. Meanwhile, moderates just hammer it in. Like, they're not going to vote for Nancy Pelosi because they think she's too far left. Not going to vote for Nancy Pelosi. Not going to vote for Nancy Pelosi. On the day of the speaker, people like Max Rose and Jared Golden didn't vote for Nancy Pelosi for speaker. Meanwhile, every single member of the Congressional Progressive Caucus that was an actual progressive, AOC, Mark Buchan, Raul Grijalva, Ro Khanna, Pramila Jayapal, they voted for Nancy Pelosi. And what happens? What did the progressives get for their loyalty? They get nothing. They get the possibility that they will hold Medicare for All hearings. Ooh, we get to hold hearings on Medicare for All. Do we actually get to vote on it? No. What do the moderates get? They get PAYGO instituted into House law on day one. They do literally everything that the establishment accuses progressives of. They say, we won't vote for your candidates. We won't like you. We will do whatever the hell we want. will vote with the Republicans 90% of the time, but the establishment's just like, yep, we gotta keep these guys in. It's like, it's so annoying. And whenever a progressive slightly says, hey, I might not vote for Nancy Pelosi for House Speaker, they're like, oh, blasphemy! You're just being a purist. Stupid. You're gonna vote for Jill Stein instead of Hillary Clinton? Wah, your family in Iraq got bombed. Wah. You gotta suck it up and vote for Hillary Clinton. Like, it's inane. And, who is complaining? Nobody's complaining about Kirsten Sinema. Nobody's complaining about Joe Manchin. Well, actually, to give credit, some people do give shit to Joe Manchin. But they still advocate for you to vote for him on election day because, you gotta vote blue. If the Democrats are in the majority, all the problems are fixed. It's not true. Like, it's not true. Just because the Democrats are in power, the problems don't go away. You have to elect people who actually stand for the people. Not just whoever has a D next to their name. Like, it's asinine. It's stupid. I don't understand, to be fair, I do understand because the establishment is aligned with the so-called moderate Democrats. And the Republicans, because under moderate Democrats like the Blue Dogs and the New Dems, they get to just have Republican viewpoints. They just get to have a Republican with a D next to their name. But anyways, onto a semi-depressing story. Not depressing, but, it's fucked up. Journalist Max Blumenthal says he was arrested on false charges. Max Blumenthal, editor on the website The Gray Zone, reports that he was arrested at his home in Washington, D.C. on October 25th by a team of police in what he describes as an attack on the press. Blumenthal says that he was arrested on a 5-month-old warrant for assaulting a Venezuelan opposition member during protests at the Venezuelan embassy in March. Blumenthal denies the charges. He says that he was held in jail for 2 days, shackled for 5 hours, and denied a phone call. Look, I mean, even if what happened is true, you heard what he says happened to him. Chained up? Chained up? What are we, in the Middle Ages? This is stupid. And these kinds of things happen to lefty activists and people all the time. When Jill Stein protested the debates with Cherry Hankala, they were tied to chairs for 3 hours. And this is just another, again, many people like to say, well, I mean, this isn't an attack on press freedom because he beat up a Venezuelan protester. I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but, I mean, even if he did, again, does that punishment warrant the punishment does not fit the crime, is what I'm saying. And again, it doesn't really seem like Max Blumenthal would do that. Because, believe it or not, I don't think journalists are the ones who like to just assault people for fun. And I mean, it's weird. It's not weird because it's pretty obvious. They want to send a message. Somebody, I don't know who, is obviously trying to get Max Blumenthal for some reason. I mean, it's obviously similar to a Julian Assange case. Except Julian Assange is being held in prison for 30 years and is probably being drugged and probably going to be executed soon. I think Max Blumenthal is free now. But I mean, again, it's fucked up. You can't just go to a random journalist's house on it. Especially considering this is a 5-month charge. It's 5 months old. What do you mean? Could you imagine, somebody was just sitting in there doing their journalist thing, and then all of a sudden, a 2-year charge a year ago we gotta arrest you now. Like, I mean, it's a fishy scenario, obviously. But anyways, on to the presidential race. Robert Francis O'Rourke is dropping out of the 2020 presidential race. Former Texas Senate candidate Robert Francis O'Rourke said Friday that he will drop out of the 2020 presidential race, making him the latest candidate to exit the still crowded but narrowing Democratic primary contest. Our campaign has always been about seeing clearly, speaking honestly, and acting decisively. In that spirit, I am announcing that my service to the country will not be as a candidate or as the nominee. Okay, so basically Robert Francis O'Rourke dropped out of the race. Now, this is just a never-ending list of this time where I'm being wrong. Because a long time ago, I made the claim that out of all of the candidates that are in the moderate field, I made the claim that Robert Francis O'Rourke would be the one that was the biggest of these candidates because he actually had some kind of momentum going into his presidential race. Like, he actually did have some kind of people actually were legitimately excited about him. They liked his Senate race, so I was like, maybe this will translate to his presidential ambitions. Turns out, no, it didn't pan out that way. Now, with this underway, many people have been, whispering to Robert, hey, dude, maybe you should do a little something, if you know what I mean. To which I remind them of this clip.
I will not, in any scenario, run for the United States Senate.
Robert, keep that promise. Seriously, Robert, keep that promise. I know 100% you're gonna somehow convince yourself, oh no, this is a good idea. I have to go back on my promise to run for Senate because I'm Robert Francis O'Rourke. But here's the thing. His momentum just seems to just be gone. Nobody seems to care about Robert anymore. And to be honest, I don't. I mean, I endorsed his 2018 run for Senate, but that was because I was being told by Kyle Kalinske and Jimmy Dore and, all these people, oh, Robert is a really good candidate, and I 100% think that you should endorse him because he is a good candidate and he's a progressive candidate. They would literally say, oh, Bernie-style Democrat wins in Texas. And I'm like, okay, in retrospect, nah. I wouldn't necessarily say I retract my endorsement, but I mean, I definitely do look back in it and I'm like, not quite. I don't approve that 100%. So anyways, now let's go on to the smaller candidate of the day, Jacob Hornberger, running for the Libertarian Party nomination. He is known for running for the Libertarian Party nomination for president in 2000 and has run for the Senate in Virginia in 2004. No, not 2004, 2002. Against a Lyndon LaRouche candidate and the incumbent Republican senator. Now, his, platform is just your average libertarian stuff. We need, free trade. We need to abolish the welfare state. Medicare and Medicaid, gone. We need to get out of these interventionist regime change wars. Blah, blah, blah. Again, it's the 70% of things that we agree on that I'm like, yes. But it's the 25% of things that we don't agree on that are actually the most important in regards to policy. With every libertarian, it's always again, we agree on 70% of the issues, but it just so happens that the 25% we don't agree on are the important things. Me and Jacob would agree on a foreign policy based on non-interventionism. yes, we'd probably agree more on decriminalizing drugs, decriminalizing prostitution, polygamy, that kind of stuff. But, I also happen to believe that everybody in the United States should have the ability to go to a doctor when they need it, rather than not. So, I mean, we don't agree on everything, obviously. I don't think I'll be endorsing him anytime soon. But the question is, will he be making an impact on the Libertarian nomination for president? I don't know. Because believe it or not, the Libertarian Party nomination for president is currently being... It's really weird at the moment. Currently we have Adam Kokesh and... I think Adam Kokesh is, to an extent, the front runner. But, it's weird. The thing is, with all these third parties, you can't really trust everything because there is no true polls. At this point, I think the stage has kind of been set. There's one, I don't know exactly who is the Libertarian Party frontrunner, but I'm pretty sure it's Kokesh. Because there was one Libertarian Party poll, and it did have Kokesh in the lead. But I don't know exactly, how much of a lead, or... I predict that this might be the first election where the Libertarian Party might actually nominate a person who's not just Republican backwash. Well, unless Justin Amash or Lincoln Chafee answers the race, then, oh boy, Republican mouthwash, here we come. So anyways, now on to the main topic of this video. 2019. The elections of 2019 are officially going to wrap up in a couple days, when this comes out, one day. So, I guess I might as well use this time to plug my 2019 endorsements for these elections. Okay, so there aren't that many, to be honest, but, you might as well get into them. Okay, so these ones are really interesting because, again, since this is the 2019 off years, there aren't really big elections that are being held, at least anymore. Most of the big elections have passed, or at least passed in regards to my endorsements. Because, I have endorsed, a special election in North Carolina. But, those special elections are over, so there's no point in talking about those, or gubernatorial races. So at this point, there are really only 4 people that I've actually, not 4, 5, I think, 5, that I'm endorsing for the 2019 off-year elections. So here we go. First is, in the Virginia House of Delegates District 50, Lee Carter. Lee Carter is a member of DSA, Democratic Socialists of America, who pulled a major upset in 2017 against the incumbent Republican. Now, he has been on a lot of people's enemy list in this year because they really want this Democratic Socialist to be gone because he's actually shaking things up in Virginia. So, and they even just pull, stupid BS pranks on him. There was one guy who, I guess because it was funny, held up, a communist flag behind, behind him during, a speech. Because it's ha, got him. Wow. So riveting. But and literally every chance people get, they will just do something to try and delegitimize Lee Carter. Here's one thing that happened. Obama released a tweet that compiled a list of endorsements that he made. I'm endorsing these people in Virginia, and Lee Carter wasn't on the list. And people were like, ha, he didn't endorse you, Lee. And then people were like, so, who cares? Like, I mean, Lee is just, average Democratic socialist, like, single payer, even though he can't really do that as a member of the House of Delegates. But I mean, Lee Carter is a decent candidate, and I would vote for him if he were my person. Okay, so in the Virginia House of Delegates District 13, we have Danica Roem. She's a journalist who again made a major upset in 2017 due to the fact that she was a transgender, like an openly transgender person who ran for the House of Delegates. And she ran and won against, quote, Virginia's chief homophobe. And this isn't even something that people in the media called him. He called himself this. And Danica Roem is also really progressive in regards to, other policies. But it just so happens that this is... that's the thing. Like, the identity politics follows the actual progressivism. Like, if you actually run on popular issues like Medicare for all, unsurprisingly, you get a lot of people who actually like this from people who are African American, people who are white, transgender, bi, whatever. So yeah, that's Danica Roem. Now this one might be a little more interesting. Virginia House of Delegates District 96, we have James Jobe, who's a libertarian. By the way, the other two were Democrats. This is a libertarian. Ooh, spooky. You see, Jobe and me, we kind of go back, in a sense. Me and him contribute to the same website called Our Campaigns. I don't know if you heard of it. It's where the cool political nerds hang out. We get tons of people going like, oh, Pluribus Unum, you're so cool. And I'm like, sorry, ladies, but I'm taken. No, I'm not. But I mean, Jobe is registered as a libertarian, but not necessarily the libertarian. You see, Jobe is more of a left libertarian or libertarian socialist. But, again, due to the fact that this position is small, you can't really advocate for libertarian socialism. So Jobe has decided to focus his platform on campaign stuff, like campaign reform, like campaign finance reform, making it easier for third parties to get on the ballot, instituting ranked choice voting, ending gerrymandering, imposing term limits. And these are things that the Libertarian Party doesn't even necessarily, do. The Libertarian Party doesn't actually advocate for those positions at all. The Libertarian Party is, strict, small government, blah, blah, blah. But Jobe is, again, not running as a normal, person, not like a normal candidate, but is actually running as a libertarian left candidate, which, surprisingly, you don't really get. It's weird. You don't really see that many libertarian leftist candidates running for office and stuff. And it's weird. I actually legitimately would considering the party does actually have a bit of a libertarian left thing, there actually would be a lot more libertarian leftists running for office, but you don't really get that. You get them mostly trying to run inside a party. Even libertarian right-wingers like Larry Sharpe are openly supportive of libertarian leftists entering the party, because he describes the Libertarian Party as like a big tent party. He's like, let them all in. And I mean, I guess it's good because they're libertarian leftists, libertarian rightists, it would be good for them to come together on the issues that they actually do care about, because that would fix a lot of issues. But I mean, again, you're not going to get 100% agreement. But, I mean, Job is a really good candidate, and, I mean, again, I'd vote for him. Now, this one is interesting. New York City Public Advocate. What's that? To be honest, I don't 100% know. Let me read the textbook definition so that we can all have a better understanding on what the heck that is. The NYC Public Advocate is a citywide elected position in New York which is first in line to succeed the mayor and is a direct link between the electorate and city government, acting as an ombudsman or watchdog for them. Okay, so, again, I guess to an extent that is kind of just in the name. They are the public advocate for New York City. Okay, that's kind of just it. So it's a position that, of course, you would want a progressive running in. And in the New York Public Advocate election, because there was actually a 2-part election that happened. So first we had round 1, which I dual endorsed 2 people. I endorsed Nomiki Konst, and I endorsed Jumaine Williams, because these 2 were very good candidates that, would do well with the public advocate position. The thing is, one of them actually did make it to be NYC Public Advocate, but it wasn't who you think it is. I mean, actually, to be fair, if you know anything about New York politics, you probably do know. Jumaine is the one who won. You see, he was the lieutenant gubernatorial candidate of the Cynthia Nixon campaign for governor. And he's a progressive advocate in in New York, who is doing a lot, same positions that he was running for before, universal health care, increasing school funding and raising the minimum wage, affordable housing in New York. So yeah, he's really a good candidate, and since he's currently public advocate, he has the advantage of incumbency, so yeah, I mean, keep him around. Especially considering this could lead to Jumaine Williams possibly primarying Bill de Blasio for mayor. So yeah, we might get Mayor Jumaine Williams, and I think that'd be cool. And the last endorsement is in Seattle City Council District 3, Kshama Sawant. Kshama Sawant is interesting because she's the only elected official of a socialist political party called Socialist Alternative, and is a well-known activist. People know who Kshama Sawant is. Kshama Sawant is really well-known. She actually got to debate Ben Shapiro. And the thing is, Kshama Sawant, she's been a really big advocate for people. Like one of the biggest things that has been going on recently was currently Seattle is trying to build Amazon stuff in, Seattle. Amazon wants to do all that. And Kshama's the one person that's been hugely advocating, no, do not do that. But it turns out that, that Amazon really, really wants to do that. So, they're funneling literally, thousands of dollars into the city council race. No, not even thousands. I think I remember, millions of dollars into this city council race. Literally nobody should be spending millions of dollars on a city council race. But it shows that means Kashama must be doing something right. Now, I mean, her platform's obviously big. Like, she is well known for implementing the minimum wage in Seattle. Kashama, she needs to say in the city council race. And if she loses, I highly recommend Kashama Sawant to run for a higher office. Hell, why not? If she doesn't win this race, run against Jay Inslee. I'll endorse you. I'll interview you. Kashama, you gotta be important. You gotta stay active, Kashama. So that's it, I guess. Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click that bell to be notified when the future video mine comes out. And if you're interested in more content from me, you can go to my website or follow me on Facebook, Twitter, or Quora, or check out my articles on the Independent Political Report.